All right, so for tonight, I basically, I basically just wanted to kind of throw a conversation together in Japanese using some new words and kind of the grammar that we've already used, trying to kind of keep it simple just to see if everybody's getting a little bit more comfortable with how to use the grammar and how to use new words that they pick up in a sentence. So before we get into that though, let's go ahead and review some of these words. The first word is miru or mirai. Sorry, minai. Everyone knows what that? Anyone know what that means?
Is it one to see?
Close. It means to not see. Minai would be the negative form of it.
I knew that kanji looked familiar.
Yep. Minai. Next word is ikimasen. Does anyone recognize that word?
To stay in place?
No.
To not go?
Or, well, yeah. I guess to stay in place would kind of be a translation of it. But yeah, it's a negation of the word iku, to go. And then the next one up is tabetain desu ka?
I know it means to... I know it involves the word eating, but I don't know what the...
Yep, does anyone know what the ending tain desu ka would do to the word?
I don't remember.
Question.
Yep.
It's a question.
Oh, yep, it does turn it into a question. It's taberu means to eat, and then tabetain would be, or tabetain would be to not eat, or to not want to eat. And desu ka would turn it into a question, because typically when you're asking if somebody would like to do something, you would actually negate it and turn it into a question to ask if they would not like to do something in Japanese. And then the last one for our review tonight is nomimasu. Can anyone tell me what that means?
I'm trying to rack my brain. I think that's to drink.
Yes. Where taberu is to eat, nomiru is to drink. Alright, and now a quick, I guess kind of grammar test to see if you guys remember some of these words and to see if you remember the grammar. The first one is anatamo. Can anyone tell me what that would mean?
And you?
Yep. Or you as well, as a question. And the next one is kino wa genki desu. I'm sorry. Kino wa genki shinakata. Can anyone tell me what that would mean?
I know what genki means. It means to be well
Yep.
in a physical and or health sense. Last I checked. Genki nakata.
Genki nakata. Does anyone remember what nakata does to a verb? Yep, we learned last week that nakata is a way to negate the verb in past tense.
Because kino means yesterday,
Yep.
right?
So, kino wa genki shinakata would mean I was not feeling well yesterday. And the last one to kind of test you guys is gakusei wa donna gohan no suki desu ka? Anyone pick out any words from that?
Student and food,
Yep.
and it's a question.
Mhm. So gakusei is the word for students, and gohan means food. So gakusei wa dona gakusei wa means the student. Is we learned last week wa would be the particle marker for introducing a new subject, and dona means what kind or what type, which would modify gohan. So dona gohan means what kind of food, and the verb here is suki, which means to like. So the question is asking what type of food does the student or students like? Because remember, there are no plurals in Japanese. So you would either be referring to a group of students or a singular student with this phrase. So once more, that's gakusei wa donna gohan o suki desu ka?
Sodexo wa de wa arimasen?
Yeah. I think we can all agree on that one. Alright, so, actually, going back, yeah, I guess I used that one already. It's Genki da, which means I am well. New words. So, the first word that we have here is, this one is yobu, which means to call. This is a verb, and then this one is denwa, which means telephone. Microsoft went ahead and recorrected that back to hiragana for some reason, but I meant to put the kanji here for bango, which means a string of numbers. So when you would combine telephone and string of numbers, you would get phone number, or denwa bango. Next up is oku is okuru, which means either to send or to like transport something, like to take between or to take to somewhere else. And this can mean, it can be used in basically any context where you would say send this in English. The next one up is sakana, which means fish. And the last one we already learned is gohan, which means food. And it can actually also, it's also synonymous with cooked rice, because way back when Japanese was formalized as a language, they were all rice farmers. So when you would cook a meal, it would almost always be served as something on top of rice or as just rice. So gohan became synonymous with like a dish of rice. Although today it can mean any type of meal. So, next up, I wrote a conversation for us to follow. Let's look for the names, the actions, the object, and the general attitude with which the speaker is speaking. So, to start off from the top, the first line would be read, Tetsuo-san, Tetsuo-san. Next line is, Hai hai, urusai. Nandayo. And the next line reads, Kanade-san o yobu onegai shimasu. The next line reads, nande? And the next line reads, Otoko ga genki shinakata. Mo gohan wa okurimasu. The next line reads, Soka, dona gohan wa? Dona gohan? The next line reads, Sakana o negaishimasu. And the final line reads, Hai hai. Wakata. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't really practice this beforehand. Does anyone have an idea of what's going on in this conversation?
So to me, it sounds like one person is calling out to another one, asking where one of the boys is, and apparently they're not feeling very well. And the fifth line says, Mogohan no kurimasu. Did I read that right?
Sorry, the fourth line?
Fifth.
Or fifth, yeah. Mo gohan wa okurimasu. Or okurimasu.
Okay. That's Soka. So I know they're talking about fish in the second to last line. Gaishimasu.
Yep. So
Maybe I think the gist is that the student in question ate fish and not feeling well because of it.
Not quite, but you did pick up on a few words. So we'll go over what they mean in detail. The first line is Tetsuo-san, which is calling out to a boy named Tetsuo. And then the next line would read, Hai hai, urusai, nandayo, which means hi would mean yes, and urusai is a word which literally means loud or noisy. However, you use it to kind of ask someone to be quiet or tell them to shut up. Or sometimes, in this case, to just be kind of cynical or kind of caustic under your breath, saying that someone's being too loud. And then nandayo translate. Nandayo is a way to ask like nandesu ka, but in a very short and rough way. The yo at the end of nandayo replaces like the su in des, and whenever you end a line in yo, it's almost like an exclamation point. It kind of emphasizes or puts emphasis on the verb. So nandayo is a very rough way to say, or a very rough way to ask what. So in this case, it's kind of more implying like, what the hell do you want? So he's being, he's not very happy with whoever's calling out to him. As a response, he might have been sleeping or playing Minecraft.
If I remember correctly, ne and yo, when they're at the end of the sentences, can change the structure, can change the feeling of a sentence. Where ne is more formal and yo is a little more kind of exclamatory.
Yeah, yo is very exclamatory, and typically use it when you're excited. It's a very informal way to end a sentence. Ne can be more formal, like you said, but really what it means is it's asking for agreement from the speaker.
Okay, that's what I'm missing. Okay.
Like, for example, ii o tenki desu ne would mean nice weather we're having, right? It's ii o tenki desu would mean it's nice weather, but ii o tenki desu ne means nice weather, right? Next up, the next line would translate as kanedo wa yobu onegai shimasu, which means, can you please call Kaneda? Implying implying either calling out and going to see him or calling him on the phone. And then nande, means huh? Why? With A being kind of the exclamation for huh or what is kind of a surprised exclamation in Japanese. And nande is, well, it means why. And this is kind of, nande is a bit more of an informal way to say why. So typically there's another word that you'd want to use for why, but I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Doshite?
Yeah, doshite. Wait, no. No,
Naze?
there's actually a different. Yeah, naze. Naze is the one you want. It's naze is the most formal, nande is the second most formal, and doshite is very informal.
Okay.
And you hear doshite a lot in an anime. If you hear it in an anime, you probably don't say it. If an anime character, if you've ever heard an anime character scream it, don't use it.
Is it just rather vulgar in that language? Or in that
No.
sense, or?
Yeah, not really so much vulgar as it is just kind of
Rude?
informal.
Okay.
But it's very much, you kind of have to understand, like, being informal in Japanese is considered very rude.
Right, so you wouldn't want to say such a thing to someone who's considered a teacher or sensei, as they put it.
Yeah, doshite, it's kind of like, it's an interesting attitude where you kind of hold, doshite shows a lot more emotion, and in Japanese, when you're being formal, you're not supposed to show much emotion in, like, the words that you use.
Okay.
So kind of like, if someone says doshite, and that's why they do it in anime a lot, because they're overly dramatic, is they'll like scream out doshite, because, you know, they're just kind of letting their emotions fly, which is not considered polite. You can never do it. Because Japan has a thing about trying to kind of keep like the noise level and keep everything calm and peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, we Americans are very, very, very loud in comparison.
Very much walk into a room, hey guys, what's up?
Hey guys! Yeah, I didn't do that today, but you know, because you were in the middle of a discussion, so.
Yeah, walk into a room. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe.
I was gonna like, you know, hit the table, but there's a mic on the table, so.
Rip people watching the video. Alright, and the next line. Otoko ga genki shinakatta. Mo gohan wa onegai shimasu. Gohan wa okurimasu. Would mean, he hasn't been feeling well. Also, send him some food. So, to ask him, or to ask this person why he should be calling Kaneda, the response is that he hasn't been feeling well. And here, otoko ga is, otoko is the word for boy or male.
Mm-hmm.
So it's saying that guy.
Why would they wouldn't they use karewa or in that sentence, or I'm probably something I'm missing again.
They can, but this is a way to say he rather than just that person.
Okay.
It's saying that boy rather than that person. It's just being slightly more specific. And yes, you can use kare. But be careful, because in this case you would want to use kare ga and not wa if you watched the previous video where I explained the difference between wa and ga.
Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. I know, like, I remember, like if I were to say kare wa okane. Shoot, I'm trying to get my stuff straight.
And this is actually a really good point to bring up in this case, because you were talking about Kaneda, if you were to say otoko ga or otoko wa, it would imply that you're talking about a new boy rather than the same boy that you were talking about.
Okay.
But because you use ga, you're assuming that the boy in question is the one who's already the topic of this conversation, which is Kaneda. And then,
Okay.
Genki Shinakata, as we reviewed, is a negation of to feel well. But it's a past tense negation. So it means he hasn't been feeling well, or he wasn't feeling well.
All right.
And then it's going on and saying mo gohan wa okurimasu. It's using wa with gohan because they're introducing food as something that wasn't already on the table.
All right.
And okurimasu meaning descend, as we learned earlier. So mo gohan wa okurimasu. Also, send him some food. The next line read Solka Dona Gohan, which means I see. If you've seen Goblin Slayer, you probably know the memes with how often he says Solka. And it really just means like, okay, cool. It means like, I understand, kind of, or I see. And then Dona is what kind. So Dona Gohan would mean what kind of food.
All right.
And you see there's no formal verb here because there doesn't need to be in Japanese.
Because they already established that they're already talking about food.
Yeah, what kind of food? Like, you don't need a verb. You just, what kind of food? And that is actually, not using a verb is actually still considered a formal way to speak in Japanese, where English is very much not.
That is very strange to me.
Yeah, like in English, if you don't use a verb, you're informal now.
Yep.
But in Japanese, they're like, if you don't need a verb, what's the point? You get the message across. Then the next line reads Sakana onegaishimasu, meaning fish, please. Onegaishimasu is something you should throw anywhere that you would want to say please. And if you're wondering when you should say please, say it a lot. I think we had a PowerPoint over Japanese manners, but I might do another one that goes a little bit more specific on when you'd want to use phrases like onegaishimasu, yoroshiku, etc. Gomen. And the last line reads, Hai hai, wakata. Hai, again, meaning yes. So, okay, I got it. Wakata, literally translating to I understand.
I understand.
But a very shortened, rough way to say I understand. So, now that we've been through all of that, does everyone feel like they kind of understand who the characters are, what they want them to do, and what the attitude is here? Speaking.
It's been a while since I last studied this language, but I'm trying to follow
Yep.
along the best I can.
Yep. So we've seen with a lot of the language that's used by Tetsuo here, mainly like urusai, and being very rough with the way he says nandayo and wakata, that he's being a lot less formal. So he is probably younger, kind of, probably an angsty teen, kind of is the attitude that would be given off by this character. And the other one is being very formal in the way that they speak. So that's all I have for this PowerPoint. Are there any questions or comments? Any general feedback? Was that good? Or I could probably improve, or you want to see something else next time?
I think with me, it just mainly just chalks up to me brushing up on learning this language. I mean, that's what I'm here for right now.
I think this was good having like a lot of, you know, the kanji, hiragana, and stuff like that.
I did like the story in addition to learning the new words to help reinforce how they'd be used.
Yeah. And does it kind of help reinforce how sentence structure and attitude works?
Yeah, it's a lot better. Be a lot better if I actually was able to show up for earlier in the meeting.
So you liked what you saw?
Yes, very much. It was very nice. I was very confused when I came in here because it was like one sentence on a screen, and I'm just like, he doesn't usually do that.
Yeah.
Usually has a bit more.
What's up?
No, I'm just trying to think to myself right now about the sentence structure because I know that like they have the topics and the subjects used first, and
Yep.
then they
Do you
move on
have-
to
Do
the.
you have the previous PowerPoints? Because I went over those in that.
I may have forgotten to look at those. I've been. I mean, I commute from Sioux Falls as I explained earlier, but
And I might release some videos of me talking about them in the future, where I go back and read all of my previous PowerPoints if anyone wants to get caught up. Or,
Okay.
you know, we can just spend a night kind of doing that at some point.
Mote is to have something, correct? Or I'm probably have my vocabulary messed up again.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Discord.
I'm unsure though, so don't quote me on that.
Because I remember something about Wa and Ga. Like, I was trying to make a point where I was trying to make a sentence where I used okane, which is money, and that would be kare wa okane o motema or whatever it is. Like, if they were to use wa, then the context would be that that person is wealthy. But if I were to use ga, it means that that person has money on him right now. Is that the gist of the difference between wa and ga?
It would be whether he has his money in his hand or not. For the most
Okay.
part. It's whether or not, if it's the focus of your attention, you use wa. If it's something new, if it's the focus of your attention, you use ga.
Okay.
If you're bringing something new into the subject, it is wa. And as I said last week, the best example, or the best way that I've seen it described is the rain. Is it rain? Like, it's a clear day out. I look out there. If I were to say rain right now, I would say amewa. Because, like, what rain? I'm introducing rain into the conversation. But
Okay.
if it was just downpouring and rain was beating against that window and none of you could hear me, I would use amega, because that rain, you know, already kind of focus on the rain.
Amega rusai.
Mhm. Yeah, rain is very loud. Alright, so for everyone watching online, we'll be doing more of Lin Famu's videos. I believe I have previous videos linked in the the playlist in the previous PowerPoints if you can't find episodes 5 and 6, but they should be fairly easy to search up. And that's where we'll end the recording for now, and we're going to go ahead and watch that. Thanks everyone.